Like, okay, all those like Doom posts where she says that you don't get an ultimate, right? You don't get an ultimate because like, you're not running in like a full Remembrance team. You're not running with Evernite. You're not running with Castrius. You're not running with RMC. So no, it is really mainly just Hyacinth. And Hyacinth just so happens to work with pretty much everyone in their moms in version 3, especially if you pair it up with Cyrene. So if you can't get yourself a Hyacinth, you're investing like 2 costs, 3 costs at this stage of the game, at 3.7, going to version 4, then it's probably a skip. Cyrene is not a... She is a unit that is like hated for the wrong reasons. I feel like the hate for her being racist is justified. She is like the most racist unit in the entire HSR because she is pretty much tied to this version 3 period, right? You just want to be paired up with the Crystal Tears, and if whatever that's going to be coming on version 4, there's almost like no chance we're going to go back and see like more Crystal Tears being added. So she's a hell of fucking racist, right? Fair. This is a super fair criticism. If you don't want to care about version 3, you want to go into version 4, completely valid. But like, people are saying that she's unplayable at E0. She's shit at E0. She is worse than Trippy. Sunday does the job. It's literally not true because she is going to do her job at that baseline. It's just she's a racist. Alright? So that is my 2 cents on Cyrene. And the thing is, right? This whole argument where Cyrene doesn't work well into... Oh my god, Firefly Ablaze. Thank you so much for $2. Cyrene is Zoom Bowser. She's an emulator. And there it is. Absolutely. Okay, the thing with Cyrene, right? This whole... She doesn't work with version 4 units. Therefore, she has a shorter shelf life. Right? She has a... You don't see a future prospect for Cyrene because she only worked with Crystal's hairs. I legitimately think that it doesn't make sense because the same argument could be said for any of your older team comps. So, like, for example, if you take a look at Acheron, right? If you take a look at Acheron, Acheron basically is like a DPS that's left in the future, but you are able to essentially get yourself the Jiaoqiu in that. I think people compare the Sirene to Jiaoqiu a lot. It's like Jiaoqiu, look at what happened to Jiaoqiu, right? It's when Cypher comes out, once Silver Wolf got reworked, look what happened to my man Jiaoqiu, right? So a lot of people say, okay, Sirene is going to end up being like a Jiaoqiu, where Jiaoqiu works right now with like 1 unit, and out of all, it just doesn't work anymore. The thing is, we haven't gotten like every other version update to upgrade Acheron. We had 1 unit. In the entire version 3, we had 1 single banner that is Cypher that upgraded an Acheron team. The Silver Wolf was like an anomaly. Anomaly. It was an anomaly because Silver was reworked. So it was for free. And then if you really have it back then, great. If you don't have it, then add one. So like for Acheron players that are still gonna be, if you still want to use Jiaoqiu, right? You are still gonna run bro in with Acheron. Because if not, it's not the case, then you have to pull for something else.
I got E6 is 5 Evernight. Caster is less. Hi, Zenless. What are my pulls looking like next patch?
You have E6 as well. You can pull for whatever you want. Exactly. Yo, thank you so much for super chat, by the way. Thank you so much. Yeah, but wait. Let me yap. Shut the fuck up, right? Let me. Ooh, okay, let me. Okay, so like this whole argument about like Sirene has no future prospect, future DPS, because she only buys the Crystal Tears, it doesn't make sense because if you're somebody that played in version 3, right, you already invested into Crystal Tears. Right? Like, if you have already invested into a Castress, if you already invested into Final, you have already invested into like Aglea or whatever, you play all these units, and you are now gonna go into version 4 with like almost, okay, let's just say you can pull for 1 unit. Right? You saved out a little bit for like the past, like, I don't know, the past 1 patch. You have enough pulls for 1 unit because you already invested like 6, 7, 8 costs into version 3. Do you think that if you skip Cyrene and your life is gonna instantly become magically better as you go in version 4 instantly? Because you still need to build up that version 4 team, right? It's like when you pull for your Jiaoqiu, when you pull for your Acheron, eventually you still want to get yourself the Jiaoqiu. Eventually you're going to get yourself whatever the sustain is going to be. And then if you go to pull for, like, let's just say like Super Break, right? You want to pull for Firefly. Eventually you still pull for the Fugue, right? You still pull for like, the vertical investment, E2 or whatever the fuck. You still pull for the Run main, and you still pull for the Lingsha. So the exact same thing is going to happen for every single version. It's not like if you save this 1 pull on Sirene, you're instantly going to be like, future-proofing your account version 4, because you're still going to be pulling at least, I would say, I think at this day and age, at least 4 to 5 costs for any premium team. It's just that at the start of that team, you don't feel the need to pull for that 4 to 5 costs because it's a fresh team. So they'll make the team shield, right? They'll shield that brand new team before their relevant supports comes in. And then when those supports come in, you pull for those supports. And then the cycle just keeps repeating and repeating. So like, the sentiment where you skip Cyrene because she only buys Crystal's hair, if you're somebody that did not pool for crosshair, right? Let's just say you're somebody that only invested like 2 costs, right? Okay, like the previous guy just done, right? Like for example, Mr. MU. If you invested in like no Hia, no Everett, no nothing, right? At that point, you technically just invested into a 3-cost team. It's a 3-cost team. I don't even know what the fuck that was. Thank you so much for the example. Yeah, so like if you invested into like a 2 or 3-cost team, so it's like very, very low investment, and you already saved up, right? Assuming that you didn't squander all your pools away, you saved up all those pools, because like if you didn't spend all those costs into like, for example, categories, then where have you been spending your pools on? Do you know what I'm saying? Like the amount of pools you're getting in one version is fixed. So if you don't pool on that version 3 and you save like those 2, 3, 4 costs into version 4, and at that point you want to skip Sirene, I think that's completely valid. Because you already prepared yourself mentally to go into version 4 way ahead of time. But there's a different story. If you're somebody that like, okay, you just saw Cyrene was like, people say that she's me or whatever, and then she's going to be version 4, she's going to be racist. But you already spent those 8, 9 costs into your Krylos here. You have already gotten yourself the E2 Casualist, Hyacinth, everything. You already got yourself like the Aglea, you got yourself the E1 tree. You got all these different things for version 3. So you have nothing left for version 4. At most, at best, 1 pool. At that point, do you think that 1 pool will save yourself from building an entire team from scratch? Because that is literally what happened to like players that pool for like low-cost investments, and they say, oh, I'm going to wait for the next patch. Because the next patch DPH is going to be very great. So the entire version 3 or version 2, they only invest like 2, 3 cost team, 2, 3 cost team, 2, 3 cost team, and then they move on. Because the cost is the same, right? Why don't you just use this exact same mentality to bring the version 5? Because if you're going to say that Sirene is not going to buy version 4, you might as well just say, okay, I just don't pull for version 4 then. I'll just pull in version 3, I'll max out my version 3 team, I'll skip the entirety of version 4, and I'll just jump straight into version 5 with like 12 costs saved up. Because it is literally like the exact same sentiment. At no point in HSR, there's a time where all of a sudden, if you invested in this 1 cost for support in a team with basically like super, super low cost, it's going to change everything for you. Because the amount of money, right, the amount of stellar J's that you've already spent on that team, it doesn't come back, right? You can't just refund your tribute, right? You can't just refund team. You can't refund your casters. You can't refund. Oh shit, I'm done with my version 2 teams. I'm done with my I'm just refund everything, and I'll just instantly transition to version 4, and therefore I'm gonna skip Sirene. It doesn't work that way because you already spent the amount of money, right? The food that you ate, you can't just spit it back out. So me personally, I think that there are a lot of her criticisms of her being racist, it is completely justified. And not everybody needs to prefer Cyrene. And that's kind of like the beauty of I feel like this unit is like she is a unit that's not game-changing breaking where every single unit for like the foreseeable future is gonna bend the Cyrene's bill. It really depends on, okay, if you're somebody that is committed to version 3, you get Cyrene, it makes you stronger. But if you're already gonna, okay, you know what? I'm gonna be saving for version 4. And Cyrene is not gonna add any value to my version 4 team, then so be it. There's no harm, no foul. So I think this was a very interesting discussion. Okay. You have coomed your last coom, my man.